Because if it happened, definitely it has to be relooked at. Lawyer Paul Mwangi spoke to my colleague Sophia Wanuna. Here is part of that interview.
It is impossible for any foreign document to enter that process, not within that laid out process and laid out procedure, unless that document is being inserted outside that process.
So who should our eyes be trained on in asking these questions? The IEBC chairs to the bill that he transmitted to the county assemblies, the county speakers, the speakers at the national level perhaps?
Then the question then comes from somewhere totally different. Then the speakers of the houses would have to tell us how these documents came into their possession. Yeah. Unless what was transmitted to them, now the certificate accompanied a foreign document, which could not have come from the chair of IEBC and would definitely not have been what was laid out before the county assembly.
Because already the doubt being cast, even with just however many counties the issues have been flagged, raises question to the extent of then everything needs to be relooked at, to the extent of what the Secretariat submitted to IEBC and then what went to the various counties. So the integrity of this document, that yes, 24 may have passed it a plus as we now know, but the integrity of what really is the actual document, even the Senate has the certified document, National Assembly has a different document. The craziness of this all, doesn't it concern you?
No, it doesn't concern me because this is something BBI has dealt with from the very beginning. You remember by the time we launched the first report, I think there might have been 20 versions of it out there. So the issue of fake documents coming up and purporting to be BBI documents is absolutely not new. It happened with the first report. It happened with the verification reports, even with this very bill. Even before it was published, there were strange bills that came up purporting to be BBI bills. Even after it was published, there were still bills purporting to be BBI bills. So I am not concerned that there are documents that claim to be BBI bills. That has been a reality that BBI has had to deal with from inception.
And perhaps that is because the bill has not been in wide circulation to the extent of people understanding and feeling that there's 100% transparency on this.
Well, the wide circulation of the bill only comes in when we are going for a referendum. It wouldn't make sense to go and print 5 million copies of a document that then in the following week is rejected by the county assemblies. I don't think that's a justifiable use of public financing.
But if the court were to decide that way, that at the end of the day enough issues have been raised, that the legitimacy and transparency and the authentic nature of the initial bill as it stands, would this mean going back to scratch?
But again, as I said, there is an attempt at every stage of BBI to try to come up with a reason why the court should interfere. And in every stage that BBI has gone to, all forms of allegations have been brought in. We have just come through what was an attempt last week to try to change the contents of the bill. And that was being done with the very full knowledge that if you change the contents of that bill, then you have legally, made BBI impotent. This, to me, is just another attempt to give the judiciary a reason to stop BBI. And I say this remembering that the former Chief Justice, very unethically, I must say, left office inciting judges to issue orders against BBI. He openly called for judges to stop BBI. And I think that what we have people working along with that, trying to come up with any reason that would incite the judiciary to stop this process. And I am very confident that that is going to fail.
Finally, even within your ranks in ODM, you have those who want BBI to be reopened, who argue Parliament is not a rubber stamp and that they have a role to the extent of, if there are issues, to align those issues. So you are top Raila man on this from the very beginning. You have others in his camp raising those issues. What is the way forward?
There's only one way forward, which is that Parliament has only one choice. Either you agree to the document or you reject it. And the history of the popular initiative and why it came to be is because we come from a history where Parliament controlled the promulgation of the Constitution and any amendments that came with it. And it was impossible to do anything with the Constitution unless you spoke to Parliament. We spent very many years, and people died as we tried to remove Section 2A. And we had a parliament that refused to act on it. We had a situation in which we had a parliament that removed security of tenure for constitutional offices. So we came up with a popular initiative so that we have a kind of a safety valve against that kind of legislative power.
Right, like someone said in the Apollo 13 movie, Houston, we got a problem with the BBI. Now let's talk about the ongoing